You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Good evening and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net and cbgtv.com. Good evening, Tamara. How are you doing?
I'm frozen. I'm good. I was frozen there for a minute. I'm good. How are you doing now?
Oh, good. Well, I'll tell you, we're not freezing here. We're like 32 degrees.
Well, I'm not freezing, but my camera keeps freezing by the looks of it.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, so we don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's not freezing here either. It's not 30 degrees, but it's fairly warm. I actually wore shorts to work today because I tried jeans yesterday and it was too hot. So
too hot, eh?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it is what it is. It's summer, and I'm glad I just bought myself a beautiful red rose bush in memory of my grandmother. So I'm going to get that planted tonight after the show.
Oh, good. You'll always have that there, and it's at Grandma's house too, is it not?
Yes. Yeah. So we've always had a beautiful rose garden, but since we've had deers kind of invade our our area, we have town deers now. I'm gonna have to put it behind.
Yeah. You got deer right in town. They come right onto your property in town and
eat everything.
And
we've had several protests because at one point because there's actually the province's problem, not the municipality. They're covered under the province's regulation. And the municipality has done several culls. And when the culls happen, we have protests and we have people going out and destroying the traps and following the hunters around to make sure the deers get loose. So the culls haven't been very successful. I don't know. I have nothing to do with it, but I support it 110%. I don't want to see them killed. I like to see some birth control, which they're doing on the island for them, or at least take them out to the edge of town because we live right amongst the forest. But I don't want to see them killed. I don't like eating my garden, but I don't want to see them dead. So
right.
It's a touchy subject around this part of the province.
I imagine it is. It is everywhere because I know there's a provincial park near me that has had problems in the past, and they have a calling for the deer.
Yeah, and they do it in other cities too, but they've gone to more humane ways of there's birth control. They're doing a pilot project in Victoria and on the island, and it's working. So if that pilot project is working on the island, then they need to bring it to us.
Yeah. You see, I got a different background tonight.
I see you're outside and I can hear the birds chirping.
Can you?
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome,
So you'll hear the frogs. You'll hear the frogs. You'll hear the crickets. All that stuff going on.
Well, it's so nice that you're out in the country, though, isn't it? Don't you love that?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. It was something we tried to do years ago, and we finally got the opportunity to do it. So now we're out here. I've been in my basement doing the shows. It's cooler down there than it is here, but it's outside. So I have my light here, so when it gets dark, I'll glow. I got something here to deal with the mosquitoes, so hopefully I don't get carried away during the broadcast. And I got a sweater to try to fight with them if I need to. So,
all right. I thought about actually sitting outside tonight too with my phone. I just didn't have quite enough time, so I'd rather. Time.
Yeah. As you said, you had to run in.
Traffic was crazy today. Like I said, it's I don't know. It's a great exit from Alberta after the election, but we have had several Albertans in today at the store saying that they're looking for property in our area because they're not staying in Alberta. And my parents said the same thing when they were here last weekend. If the UCP got in again, they went and looked at some property when they were here on the weekend, and my parents are thinking about moving to British Columbia again too. And honestly, they didn't come when I moved out here in 2014 because our healthcare system out here was just kind of failing. And we were still paying premiums, and you couldn't find a family doctor. Well, since the Great Alberta exit, we've got family doctors and nurses, and they'll be
Well,
making
there you go, eh?
and
So
yeah.
vanity.
So mom and dad are thinking, well, the NDP took the premiums out here, so we're not paying for premiums anymore. And if they can get a family doctor, because my dad's diabetic, he has to see a doctor on a regular basis, and they're seniors. My dad's 80. They're thinking just beeline it across the border because they don't want to lose their pension. And Danielle Smith
Was that a dog fighting going on behind you there?
It's my dog coughing. Stitches
Okay. All right. I just didn't know
no, it's just coughing. He coughs.
fighting.
But Danielle Smith plans on taking the CPP and making it closer to Alberta. My mom has a public servant's pension, and she's got a BC Top pension, and she's got CPP and her OCP. They don't want to lose that. And there's not a pension in Alberta the CPP, and it will affect everybody across Canada's CPP if they take that population out. And it won't be enough to sustain CPP in Alberta. So my parents aren't willing to risk that.
Oh, they can deal with it. We're not dealing with it tonight on the broadcast. I'll tell you that much. We got other things to deal with tonight. So.
Yeah, right.
Like hopefully, the computer that I had to borrow for tonight's broadcast works smoothly and works until mine gets back from the repair shop.
Yeah, you had a problem with that. It would have just died.
Yeah, just all of a sudden, I was rendering a movie, just finishing up a video, and it just went poof. It choked on it, I guess. It just too much for it to do, and yeah. So I'll take it in, get it repaired if possible, and get an external hard drive for it. So
absolutely, can't lose all
that. Alrighty, what do you say? Time to bring in our guest.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'd like to welcome our guests, Margaret McDonald and Pierre Spenard, to the Pace Radio Show. Welcome, Margaret and Pierre. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for inviting us to the show.
Yes.
Hey, no problem. We always like to invite people to the show, new people that we've never, personally, we've never met, I don't think.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Even though, you're probably an hour and 15 minutes probably down the road from me. I'm over near Havelock. So,
okay.
Yeah, just down the road from the Jamboree.
Limestone City Hydroponics. So you and I are kind of in the same kind of department.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're a retail store, small retail store in the Greenfield Plaza on the corner of Montreal Street and Sutherland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. So right off the 401. We're for the Montreal Street exit, and then we're the next set of lights as you go south towards the city.
And have you found business picking up since legalization?
We've had a change in some of the focus, so that's a trick question. The market has changed. There has actually been a lot of attrition, we'll call it, in the hydroponics business, in that there's since the pandemic a lot of focus on online shopping and Amazon and a lot of competitive pricing, really competitive pricing, and free shipping and instant availability that forces Limestone or it forces, I think, a lot of hydroponics stores, retail stores, to have the extra overhead, and then you can't be carrying everything in stock, so you have to make some strategic choices and then offer it up. We can order it for you, but a lot of times folks are like, oh well, I can just find another vendor online, and so there's some of that's changed the business. But I think primarily what we're seeing is a lot more home growers. So up to 4 plants. We do advocate for licensing. So we basically provide a service to allow customers to have access to a nurse practitioner, and so it's completely confidential. And there's that consultation may lead at the end of it to a prescription that the customer can then apply for the final licensing from under the Cannabis Act from Health Canada. And so we really we've really seen a lot of people who really appreciate having that access, even though there's legalization. There's still a number of folks who are really in need of even just advice, medical advice as well from these professionals.
Exactly.
And of course, advice on how to grow their own medicine and how to.
Yeah, we'll get into all that, but why don't we go back to the beginning? Like, what got Limestone City Hydroponics? And Limestone, it's Kingston. You know everything that Kingston's limestone, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of it was an unusual story. So post-pandemic, so this store was originally called BMA Kingston. So it was actually an extension of the franchise of BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, which has been run for more than 20 years. And recently, Devin Ross retired, as you know. And so anyway, out of that, so originally the original owners had started a franchise with Devin Ross, but then in 2021, in around July, we started talking with them. I used to work with one of the former owners in the software industry previous to that, and I was a customer. I became a customer, and he just had mentioned, we're retiring, and we're looking to hand over ownership, and asked essentially if I might be interested. And we were we thought about it, and we were very interested. So we're avid gardeners. So it was one of the passionate things about it is we don't just grow cannabis. We are avid gardeners as well, and house plants and that sort of thing. And so it was really, it was really up our alley. And so we basically dedicated a lot of time and effort to learning. We were able to learn from the former owners as well as from Devin Ross as well. And up until we changed, so when we officially took ownership in January of 2022, we changed the name from BMA. They had announced as well that they were retiring. Devin Ross had announced that they were retiring.
Correct.
They had split the franchise, so renamed it. And it's been a learning experience, especially because we've seen a change in like I said, the kind of customers where we have a lot more of the individual home growers, but we've seen some of the other folk who got out of it when there was just the whole method of the legalization, the way it was really focused on large corporations, really difficult for smaller licensed micro growers even to compete and otherwise get into the business, depending on the laws in place in the different provinces. So a lot of them just got out of it, and where the large corporations aren't dealing with retailers like us, they're going directly to suppliers. So our business really is now focused on smaller players, basically the folks that are growing at home or smaller micro growers that seem to be coming back into the business now, which is good. We're really helpful, really thankful, and really I want to do a shout out to all the customers that we've benefited from, who've been loyal to Devin Ross and BMA and Belleville, who've come to visit us and make the drive. We really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
That's good of those people to do that.
Absolutely,
to do that, because Devin Ross, they were with the Pace Radio Network and Pace before there was even a radio network. I gotta say, since 2010, so 13 years that they've been involved, and that includes going to events and home shows and stuff and educating people.
It's a gap truly missed. We hear that in our customers every day.
We started Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners together too, and I'm actually the CEO of Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners. And Devin and Ross did the clinic for our group out in Belleville. So I've worked really closely with them as well. They're just wonderful people.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. So now you're moving, you're doing your thing. You're in Kingston there. Now I guess product wise, you got the whole range of products available to people. Like from the pictures I saw, it looks like you've got quite a bit of stuff in there. Like I know you said you have to stock it strategically, but you look like you've got the.
You better cram in there.
Yeah, the whole back warehouse is mostly dirt from floor to ceiling.
Yeah, there's so much because, like, even the store I work in it's a huge store, and we stock 4 or 5 different hydroponic, like, for cannabis, right? Then we've got our fertilizers, and we've got our organics, and then we've got our soils, like, and it's a huge store. I couldn't imagine what you're cramming in there.
It's there's a lot, and in some cases, we get requests for things that we don't have, and we'll order them in. But also we sometimes will offer alternatives. Saying, if you're looking for that product, you might be interested in checking this one out. Though in general, we advocate for if it's working for you, keep using it. When you make changes, that there could be issues that arise, and it's going to be requiring time and attention, and so sometimes it's always good to refine and to kind of be aware of what you're doing, how you're growing, and making refinements here and there. But when you're making a major change, it's just good to be careful when you're doing that.
I know that our focus, tonight, is with cannabis and growing cannabis and stuff like that. But as you said, you guys deal more in just the cannabis end of things. Just, everybody thinks hydroponic shop.
Yeah, we have a lot of
microgreens and vegetables and plants. And I grew a cucumber in the bucket at the back, and it's like 18 feet long.
Nice.
Yeah. We have folks that really get into crack key systems. That's like essentially growing in a bin without any water, or in a jar, for instance, or any.
I had never heard of that until I saw one of the pictures that you sent me, and I thought, what is that? So I had to look it up.
Oh, nice. Oh, cool. Yeah, it's interesting. And folks, are able to grow, lettuce in their home, especially at times with the grocery prices are what they are. It's nice to be able to grow things, especially in the winter and in the summer as well, aside and growing better food. We're taking up less space, like we have access to vertical garden walls as well. So you can grow anything from bok choy to strawberries to you name it. That requires a little bit of space, and you're a lot of times just using water as your medium. And so it's
we could just figure out how to do potatoes.
True. Yeah, roots.
I've been thinking about the root product. Like, if we could just figure out how we could grow carrots and potatoes aeroponically, or in some, you know what I mean, or how. Really, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I never thought about that. The root plants that are,
beets.
The root. I never even. Yeah.
You can do squash. You can do squash and pumpkin, and that hydroponically, where you can, and cucumbers and tomatoes and all of that. But when it comes to your carrots and your turnips and your potatoes, those are a conundrum, because you can even grow sweet potatoes hydroponically, because they kind of grow like that. But potatoes under the soil. Same with carrots. So, you think of rock wool, but would you have to have rock wool to be like how, and would it grow through the rock wool the way it does soil? And in theory it should, but the rock wool would have to be like, maybe it'd be a cocoa, like, you'd have to use cocoa fiber or something to grow potatoes or carrots, because it does, you can fluff the bulk up, right? Those cocoa. I'm wondering if you could, use that with, the water base underneath, right? And it just soaks from the bottom always. And
that's really interesting. I'm now trying to think of, we've got a lot of rockwool cubes. If I took a big mama,
So maybe that could be a challenge.
I don't know. Like there's like in your store, like I know some hydroponic stores, you could go in there and you would see a grow display, the lights set up and some plants growing in them. Do you have room for that in your store?
Yeah, we got 2 hydro buckets right now growing a green pepper, and a pretty generous looking tiny tom. Probably right now. So
awesome.
What's a tiny tom?
Just like a cherry tomato, a little bit bigger than a cherry tomato.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, until I don't grow vegetables.
I had our plumber, like that does our irrigation, make me a hydroponic, but it's out of a PVC pipe, and then we drill holes in the top with like a tiny little like the baskets in it with a little bit of lava, the rock on the rock on top. And we're growing microgreens and basil and all kinds of stuff, like this little herb, like, but it's in a PVC pipe, like 3/4, not very big. So and you can make like levels of them, so people could hang them in their kitchen just off a chain. And that was kind of where I wanted to start with, like doing it from DIY, making it as simple as possible for people to be able to do it at home for as cheaply as possible too.
Yeah,
Do it.
like a lot of new people who come in who start to grow indoors. What do you find is probably like the most popular way? Do people go into a hydroponic system, or do they go right into a soil system?
Cocoa fiber. People are using cocoa fiber.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot, as well as like the cracky. We're seeing more cracky system. We do have a vertical gardening system from ZipGrow. They're an Ontario-based company, and it's at a price point for beginners that it's a little outside of the price point. We also have DIYers, people who are doing their own builds. We always try to recommend, say, are you using food grade plastics? Because sometimes you'll get the oh, am I using food grade plastic? So that's just something, folks, if you're doing your own DIY home gardening and you're using plastic, make sure it's food grade.
Spend the extra couple bucks for that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the PVC pipe is pretty easy because that's the stuff you use for plumbing, right? That has to run your water system.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best one that I suggest.
You can see here the picture on the screen there that I'm sharing with everybody. When I said you guys got a lot of stuff in there.
Wow, what a pretty little store.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
I like the cedar style, and that's beautiful. That's awesome.
Thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
And in honesty, the former owners were the ones who set up the original furniture and whatnot, and so kudos to their initial design, trying to keep things very elegant and whatnot.
It's beautiful.
They were great.
I see you got there. You mentioned the medical grow license, the clinic there.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, for patients. And as far as then you got your potency test. Now, when it comes to the medical grow licenses, as far as I guess a question to be like, because obviously with CTCP no longer being down at BMA, it's going to be nice to there's nice to know of places where we can send people.
Everything that we won't be able to fill their shoes at all, but we'll definitely help you with anything that you could get done with BMA. We can help you for sure.
Yeah,
in the same. We were using the same medical professionals as they were as well. They were essentially they got us in touch with them. We've been using
good. And then when it comes to costing on those, I know there's clinics that are all over the place. Do you base it on per gram, or is it up to a certain level is so much money, and another level is so much money?
It's per gram. It's based on the rates that are set by the private company, the consultant company. Yeah,
that's out of your control.
Somewhat. We have because we are involved too. We do have a markup on it as well. But the cost is for us is $20 per gram.
Yeah. Okay.
And typically, like folks are anywhere from I would say, well, I don't know if there's an average. Is there an average, or is it just pretty much a wide range?
It's pretty wide range depending on individuals, what their needs are.
Yeah. And you probably meet some pretty nice people during this, and people who you would never suspect would be involved.
Yeah. And just the help that we've gotten from the community, people like yourselves, the learning that you guys are sharing with us.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing. Thank you all.
Yeah. And they tell us some of their story. Everything's very confidential. We don't keep
Right.
the personal anyone's personal information, etc. So they get their applications back, their prescription, etc. It's ultimately up to the individual to do the final application, but we'll help folks through it, especially those that who aren't sure about the process. They don't want to make a mistake. They're a little nervous about making mistakes and whatnot, and so we can help them keep the anxiety level down and keep the
That's
process as low, because it's still it seems silly that there's still, with legalization, that there's still this very seemingly difficult process for some folks to go through and get their prescription by comparison to other pharmaceuticals and others. So it's really relieving for a lot of these patients that this is accessible. It's a lot of stress because you have to do it every year. You have to renew every year, and so it's sometimes a lot of stress. Like, oh, it's coming up, and I know I've got to wait 6 to 8 weeks. And what if they're on strike? Does a strike affect processing time? And am I going to get in trouble because I'm growing more than 4 plants? Because I have to grow more than 4 plants. There's a lot of these questions, especially with indoor growers.
Exactly. Now we got a few more minutes before we go to break, and before we go to break, I have to do something, and that is to announce that Limestone City Hydroponics, Margaret and Pierre, have joined us here on the Pace Radio Network as sponsors, and we'll be running advertising for their business here all the way across the network. And that will actually. Thank you very much for I sent you the email there a while back, and you got back hold of me again. And I saw you liking a lot of the stuff that we were producing, and knowing you're connected to Ross and Deb, and knowing that Ross and Deb were retiring and we would no longer have them here. You two would be a perfect. It'd be a perfect company to reach out to see if they want to get involved and help out in advocacy and educate people and make our voices louder.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it very much.
The legacy industry needs, us to keep going too, because that's the thing. The community needs to keep hearing us and having support from businesses. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So tonight, during the break, we're going to be running a commercial that Pierre and Margaret sent to us that they've been running. It's a springtime commercial, so we'll run that. And I have got something created. I just got it finished up earlier today. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, my computer has crashed. So it's on my computer.
You'll get it. You'll get it back.
So we'll run the old one until I get access to my computer, and we'll get the new one going. Testing my skills at doing that.
Unblue screening.
Yeah.
Unblue screening.
Yeah. It's so much to learn, in this. It's not just about at the beginning, it's all I was doing, just speaking into a microphone, right? But now there's so much involved, and so it's great that you have agreed to join us, and everybody will be seeing your commercials throughout all the different programming across all of our platforms, as well as our broadcasts also go out as audio podcasts. So people in the audio world will be hearing them as well.
Nice.
And let everybody know. And the commercials are never removed, so people will always know that you were there to help out, to help spread the word around. How many years down the road? Like this is the 10th anniversary for the Pace Radio Show, and those commercials from the early days are still out there. So
awesome.
Yeah, you guys have done a lot of good things. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's taken a lot of support from businesses like yourselves in order to be able to do that, because some people get into this to make money. I get into this just to educate people, but and to share the knowledge and share the stories of other patients. Unfortunately, that takes some money to do, to get programs and stuff that you have to pay yearly fees on. And it's great that I can get support like from businesses like yourself in order to make sure that that continues. And once I know the bills are covered, I don't go looking for anybody else. It's not about making money. It's just about getting those bills covered and getting that information and sharing those stories.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, all righty. I see it's about the hour. Time for us to take a break. What do you say?
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. All right. When we get back, we'll continue our discussion with Margaret and Pierre. You're watching the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net and cbgtv.com.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Babe, it's spring. Just saw a robin.
Awesome. Let's get our butts to Limestone City Hydroponics. They carry Happy Frog and Ocean Forest soils and lots of promos.
Limestone City Hydroponics carry everything you need to get veggies veggin', from organic fertilizer to cloth grow pots to, well, everything. Visit them today. Don't delay. In-store, free delivery, or curbside. We're here to help. 613-548-0420.
Cannabis edibles are an effective way to manage pain and other ailments, especially when you deal with your trusted partner, Legacy 420, in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. You see, we lab test every product on site to ensure proper dosage every time, which is critical when consuming cannabis edibles. All Legacy 420 edibles are made by our classically trained baker and chocolatier, and we also have super tasty vegan options.
Our baker has been in the industry for 25 years. She's also a chocolatier. Everything from savory to sweet, your chocolate bars, brownies, butter tarts, you name it, we make it.
Talk to our knowledgeable Cannatex about our incredible variety available. Give your trusted partners a call. Legacy 420 out on your road.
In February of 2022, the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club and Ted Smith were fined $6.5 million. This for helping 8,500 patients with access to medical cannabis. In our interview with Ted, he spoke to us about how people can donate to help in an upcoming court challenge. And here is part of that interview. From what I've seen lately, I believe that you've got something that you're trying to do as far as fundraising to deal with this next court challenge.
For now, people can write checks directly to Jack Lloyd Law Corporation or send e-transfers to save the VCBC at gmail.com. I guess those are the two easiest ways for people to help right now.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
We are People Advocating Cannabis Education here at paceradio.net.
Back to tonight's Pace Radio Show with our guests, Margaret McDonald and Pierre Spenard. They are now the owners of Limestone City Hydroponics and the new sponsors here on the Pace Radio Network.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, thank you.
Hey, thank you for coming aboard. We really appreciate it.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
When did you guys do you consume cannabis too? Are you guys patients as well? Like, how did you guys get involved in cannabis?
I've been a long time user, and I'm a licensed grower as well. But but yeah, I learned at a very young age that it was helpful for me from an anxiety standpoint. I was able to basically not obsess over things that were negative or otherwise causing me stress, and that would affect my decision. It would affect my sleep. So this also helped me sleep. There were lots of benefits over the years for me that worked well. And thankfully, I had a family doctor for years that he's retired now, but who accepted my use and was able to. He wasn't necessarily comfortable. Due to certain aspects of my medical health, the regulations were such that, we need to try you on a battery of pharmaceuticals. And you start naming them, and I think of the friends or family members who have been on some of these things. I'm like, no, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in going through those. I remember this situation. So at the end of the day, he gave me the best advice I'd probably ever gotten was, live as normal a life as you can for as long as you can. I'm not going to tell you to stop smoking it, other than I'm not going to tell you that smoking is healthy. You probably find other ways maybe to do it from a health perspective. But at the same time, he said that at the end of the day, he did not recommend. He was okay with my decision to not go the pharmaceutical route because I had good rationale, and he agreed with that rationale. And ultimately, I think I wouldn't have been functional at my job had I gone the pharmaceutical route, and I might not be where I am today with the opportunities that I still have today had I not chosen to continue to self-medicate with cannabis. I love it. And as far as even just growing and the gardening, we've been growing food and vegetables for years and years and years. Aside from some of the guerrilla gardening that we were also having to do for a while. And at the end of the day, just the plant is such a beautiful plant, not just for the variety of different types of medical benefits that you can get from different strains, etc., but even just the just working with the plants throughout is just fascinating. They're just fascinating.
Yeah, working with them, it can be therapeutic. Yeah. I find benefits, but I also find some aggravation sometimes.
Especially
I can imagine, if I was a hydroponic store, you got people coming in and saying, I got a leaf that's doing this, and they'll show you maybe a picture of the leaf, and you think, the plant might have 500 other leaves on it, and there's only one that's got a spot on it, and
we can work through everything and figure out what it is, though, and try to.
Usually it's a barrage of questions, and then it's beyond. Okay, send us more photos, and then usually it's like, could be this, could be this, could be this, but try to trace down.
It's over fertilization. Because people have it in their heads, they have to be running fertilization and doing fertilization all the time because cannabis has to be fed as food, right? Mm-hmm. In reality, if you think about it, they don't need as much fertilizer or even taught to feed them. I don't feed mine any more than about 4 to 6 weeks now. Just treat it like a regular plant. And then when it's in bloom, I'm absolutely giving it a little more canopy, a little more, nutrient. Yeah. But I find that if I over fertilize, you're getting the brown tips on the ends of your leaves. Well, that's rule of thumb. That's over fertilization, right? Or over watering too, because you wait till they're completely dried out.
That's just people that are just loving their plants.
Yeah.
Right? They're just
over love.
And then a lot of people come in with these house plants too and go, "What's wrong with it? You overloved it. You overwatered it." Well, I'm only watering it once a week, but you're still watering it once a week, whether it needs it or not. Right? You have to listen to your plant. So if your soil, your plant needs to be watered. But if it's like really still moist, you don't need to be adding to that. You don't need to be fertilizing every other day.
Yeah. Less is more. And then it's able to uptake more, and it's like the root zone, having it being healthy and strong, ultimately allows you to uptake more food more efficiently, and you can still have the NPK level and the other micronutrients.
And the microbiologics they have now too, you can use, right? That help uptick the nutrients from the soils and from the worm casings if you're doing organics, rather than, and it gives that soil the ability to give it oxygen too. And I think a lot of people don't misunderstand the fact they need to use perlite. And if you don't use enough perlite, either that or get some worm casings or get some worms. And let those bugs go in there and do their thing, because that plant, those roots need oxygen, right? Just like we need oxygen. It doesn't get oxygen from on the leaves. The oxygen's come from the root, right? There's so many things that, it's just plant education.
Yeah. The soil that doesn't drain is detrimental to the plant.
Yeah, there's no oxygen in water. Not for a plant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
More going towards aeroponics, because then it gives the plant more ability to breathe. Because you find on the tables and stuff, their roots get all intertwined, and you get the brownness on the tip one, and once it hits the one, it goes all the way through the whole system, right? So a lot of people are using aeroponics now because it's just a straight, misting. I got an LP here in Cranbrook they're running aeroponics, and they're in our store buying stuff from us.
Yeah, I advocate for aeroponic cloners. We have a couple at the house, and we use them for cannabis as well as for propagating food and house plants, and they're fantastic. And I did recently move from one, so I use them in my flower space. I use DWC these days. I moved from doing different types of soils that I've tried and experimented over the years to DWC, and that's been good with its own challenges. There's some things I've had to learn the hard way, and then I love the DWC method so well as I've converted my ebb and flow mother table to DWC just this last grow. So
nice.
What is that?
Deep water culture. So it's
deep water culture. Okay,
growing in a bucket of water, and as you mentioned, super easy to get root rot in that sort of environment. So there are things you have to watch out for with temperature. And
there's something
that your stuff. Like, do you ever put fish in your systems at all?
I don't. I do use a kelp-based product, and that seems to be, and it's compatible one with our. So I'm also running, as of late, I've been running UC roots to help keep it sterilized. Right. I've tried doing it with organics before, and it can get kind of messy pretty quick. Hygrozyme works really well too, or using an enzyme to help clean the roots. If you're running with beneficials, Hygrozyme is a fantastic complement to that. Hygrozyme or other enzyme products also work with hydrochloric acid, which I'm using UC roots as my kind of sterilizer for the root zone. That seems to be working. I've had some issues with fluctuating temperatures in my grow space, and that has led to some root problems. And so I'm finding the UC roots hydrochloric acid is doing the trick. But with that comes some of their issues too, incompatibilities with certain types of additives like ketozan. I've had to now just resort to using that as a foliar, because I find it's kind of clumping and getting a little syrupy in the DWC.
Yeah. There's something that we've been reporting on the news segment on the news show here on the network, and it's something to do with black root. There's some virus or something that's going around. A lot of the growers in the U.S. are battling something that's going at the roots of their plants.
Yes, and we were talking about it. I can't remember the name of it, and I should, but it's something that apparently will survive rubbing alcohol, even 99% rubbing alcohol. So the recommended sterilization for your scissors is peroxide. Your peroxide 29% or above. That tends to, I guess, apparently this type of virus can survive super low pH levels.
Mm-hmm.
Where the alcohol doesn't go down that low, and so and that it's spreadable. So a lot of, I guess there was the belief for years that eventually your mother plant, if you keep a mother plant for a long time, that it's eventually just gonna deteriorate and not produce. Well, and a lot of times it's because of that virus being introduced to it over the years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Viruses, yeah.
So we've talked about the fact that you have medical licensing for patients. And do they have to? I assume they have to call you ahead of time in order to arrange an appointment, or come in and see you to arrange an appointment.
You don't actually. If you go on the website, you want to just download the assessment. You can fill that out. You can email that back to us.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our new clients are far out of town because they're essentially Devin Ross's old clients.
Right.
So we can work with them and save the gas a little bit. They do have to come
Good.
in. We can do some over Skype. There's ways we can get around and help
Right.
people get a little easier.
Yeah, the end goal is try to help the patients and have them do as little running back and forth
Exactly.
as possible.
Yeah.
So is, Adobe Signature.
Yeah. Some things we have to do exactly what the nurse tells us. So I just follow her rules and
Yeah.
as painless as we can for the patients.
Health Canada always wants the original copy. And the original copy is usually with the nurse practitioners. That's always been the trickiest part about it, right?
Yeah.
Is how to get the original copy to Health Canada.
Yeah.
Now, you also, I see here on your services, you offer testing, potency testing.
We do. We have a pretty amazing, it's a GEMA we test through. $25 per test. Fifth one's free. You need less than half a gram. We will grind it up to put in the machine, but then we will give you when we give you your certificate, we'll give you your sample back.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and it tests for CBG, CBD, and moisture content and THC, of course. And the Gamma Cert. So we've had a couple of testers. I'll just mention this: that not all testers are built equal. And typically the cheaper ones tend to give you these fantastic out of sight results.
Really high.
Our tester is based out of the database that it hits against is based out of Israel. The manufacturer's in Israel, and Israel's they've been studying cannabis for since the 60s. So they've accepted medical cannabis since the 60s and been doing more studies than anywhere else in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a very, very
our system, because there's so much research that's been done overseas, and we got the College of Physicians going, we don't know, we don't have enough. I've got a friend that's a doctor, and she tells me like the BC College of Physicians are just absolutely adamant, and they're not allowed to charge for a prescription and blah blah blah. Like it's just that if they would use the research that they've got, why are we here, right?
That's it. Yeah. So by testing against this database, it apparently seems to be making the testing results more accurate. They tend to be more conservative as well. So where one test might be coming out at 28%, might actually only be about 19 or 20% on our test machine. But it is certified, and we do sign our names to it, and it's each certificate.
Good.
I'd rather have more accurate, lower numbers than some misconception of something that says 20%. It's not doing the job then.
Yeah, I had a guy, he had a handheld device, and he brought it to my house, and I gave him some cannabis to test, and they told me the device told him it was 24% THC. The plant on the packaging was 7% CBD, 5% THC, and it came up with a 24% and next to zero for the CBD on the CBD end of things. And I'm going like,
just trying to wow you,
yeah. So it shows a big, it can show a big mix up on the accuracy of things, and I did actually contact the breeder, and they got back to me and said that you get it tested with the proper equipment, and then come back to us.
Yeah,
we don't take this results from this handheld or that device that was used, right? So it's good. What's that?
Somebody bought it off Wish.
Yeah.
Somebody's basement.
Yeah, exactly. Now, is that somebody? I guess they just drop off and they can get. Do they get the results in a few days? Is there they receive it?
Yeah, a lot of the time we can do it the same day, but probably the next day for sure.
Yeah,
depends how busy we are.
And they get a printout.
Certificate of the reading.
Of it. Good.
I'll say in the wintertime it's a tad bit longer, only because it takes longer for the machine to warm up, because I'm cheap and I don't heat the place properly. I heat the place properly, but I like it cold. Not everybody likes it as cold as I do.
Well, yeah. Oh yeah. It's some people like their buildings cool, and some people like them hot. I know that when I keep the house hot, I always hear about it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm usually the one saying that.
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is he at 23?
I got a blanket.
Same here. Exactly. Okay. What else you got from there? You offer local delivery.
We do within city limits. We got 2 zones. There's a minimum order for the second zone outside of city limits, which is minimum order of $50. You can call us and we'll deliver. You can order online and pay through the website. Our website currently doesn't have everything on it. We're in a transition stage right now. We're moving to a new POS system, and it's pretty complicated. In fact, we purchased BMA's old POS system, so there's some of the work done for us, but it's a fairly complicated process. So not everything that we have in the store is on the website. And the shipping part of it is still a little bug that we're trying to work out with that, but that will change once we're working with a couple of new shippers. And so we've been shipping now outside of the province as well to folks.
Oh, good. So like somebody in BC, like Tamara, for example, even though she works at a store, she could.
There we go. Yeah.
I'll send you some Ramos nutrients, and you can send me something from Ontario that might be similar.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Right
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's way better than pen pals.
Yeah, because I know that.
Oh, he froze. He's froze.
Oh, could be.
Yeah, he was
deep in thought.
Well, I'll use this opportunity to talk about the one of the things we do have. Speaking of newts, is we do have our own local line of nutrients. We call it Limestone City Nutrients, and it features the artwork of James Kierstead. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but he's a local artist, local hero. He's been he's done things for Archives Canada and whatnot. Very photorealistic oil painter, and he's and portrait. And the most famous artwork that he does are of old limestone buildings and whatnot. So it's perfect in the gardens and whatnot. So we use that. He's allowed us to. He was friends with the former owners, and he's allowed us to continue to license his artwork on the nutrients. And the nutrients are made in Kingston.
Oh, nice. Locally made and local art. That's the graphics of your labeling.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And James is still blessing us with his presence. So he's 92. He paints with a palette knife. Actually, it's something else to know that he's just an incredible eye for just color accuracy. Just amazing.
Yeah. So is it a 1-part, 2-part, 3-part product?
Well, good case. So we have a 1-part. We have a 4-part. So a Grow AB, Bloom AB. We have a 1-part. So essentially, you just keep using more as you go from veg to flower. It's a fully organic. We also are trying out. We're going to be we're testing a 3-part as well. So very similar to the other 3-part formulas that are out there to cover folks that are interested in that. And we're also doing a 2-part as well. That's just a 1-part grow, 1-part bloom. So those are things that we have in the store. We just haven't I haven't broken them down yet. I don't have labels for them yet. So I've still got a few things to do to get them ready to go. The last thing we do too is we have a salt-based dry product for not just hydroponics, but essentially you can use mix that in water to feed plants that are in soil. And it's very cost effective and another method of feeding your grow. That's all of these products. We're very fortunate to be working with Easy Grow, who are the manufacturers of the products. They're an R&D facility, and they normally support large commercial grows, large commercial farmers and whatnot, and being local, and again, friends of one of the former owners as well. And we've been able to maintain that relationship, and it's been really great. They're really good. They know their stuff, and
good.
we're really happy. I've actually switched over to our own products. I did some tests. I had to get to know them, and I'm actually religiously using them. I use other products as well, some other additives that we don't have in our line, like the RC Roots, as I was mentioning, or Hydrozyme. We don't have an enzyme product, but we do have a Ketozan product now. We do have potassium silica product now as well.
Help you with the powdery mildew.
Yeah, exactly, and bug control. Keep those nugs on stems that are nice and strong. And we have good additives, some good additives beyond the base. We've got a good Budaboom. We've got a booster based with a lot of different additives. So it's not just pounding the plant with phosphorus and potassium and other amino acids and other chemicals in there. And of course kelp product, root rage. So we get you started from propagating, and all these things are well engineered. These guys have been doing it for years, and I've been humbled with the amount of knowledge that I've learned since doing this. Since actually,
I imagine, like you said, you grew a lot of tomatoes or not tomatoes, but a lot of vegetables and house plants and all that stuff over the years. And then I imagine, like once you take over a business, it's a whole new world.
Oh yeah, took what I thought was what the world was. Oh, I know all this stuff, and that just gets I know all this stuff. It's been humbling. It's been good too, and it's really nice to not only learn from customers, but also customers are even sometimes really experienced. Like we'll say something and they'll tell us like, oh, I learned something today. And we're like, oh, really great. Glad.
Amazing community.
Yeah,
exactly.
Less secretive a community. It used to be a very secretive community for obvious reasons, mostly not just for just the persecution part of it when
Rival.
But also just all the secrets on how to do it well. And it seems that it's a lot more community based, a lot more sharing. The internet has, I think, blown it wide open. But I think also we've benefited heavily in Canada from the stigma being slowly lifted and legalization coming in, getting more mature. The legalization is getting more mature. It's getting better. It still has some issues to resolve. But,
Minnesota just legalized in the U.S. yesterday.
Oh, wow. I missed that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, they're going to be allowed to grow and have consumption, and they're going to have regulation. I'm not sure if they banged it all out, but I saw that yesterday on the news that Minnesota is now recreationally legalized for cannabis.
Excellent.
It's so wild down there that there's so many states that have, most of them have the medical end of things, and so many more are now coming in on the recreational part of it, that it's crazy that the federal government is still so staunch against it. And when it comes to their banking bill, so that maybe the rest of the world can deal with cannabis banking, it's been before their parliament or towards their Congress 8 times. Like, come on, people, get it done. Like, everybody's waiting for them.
Yeah, it's
I thought Biden and Kamala Harris said they were going to legalize. It's the GOP that are blocking it.
Oh, it's just crazy. They'll get it.
Kamala Harris, and I know they announced that they were going to legalize federally because they were just done. It's a waste of time, waste of money. Policing it was a waste of time and money, and that's exactly what it said. And she was the attorney general anyway. But they were supposed to do that, and it's the other side that the aisle that.
Still waiting. All right. Enough of the politics.
That's unfortunate. The whole world seems to revolve around all this stupid shit.
I completely agree with you. That's why I said. That's why I threw those comments in them there about the world would like it for for banking purposes, because it's a major problem. Like even though large licensed producers here in Canada dealing with banks and the little stores.
Even our stores get scrutinized. We get to ask those questions. So you're selling cannabis? So I was just like, the pause is like, no, actually, we're not selling cannabis. We even we're still being grilled through the whole thing. So we're fortunate to have good banking right now, and we were looking at options. And what if we looked at another bank?
Your hydroponics business, but someone's growing with the product that you sell, whether it's tomatoes or orchids or maybe someday carrots.
Exactly.
You grow your carrots in the Vegapod, but not hydroponically yet.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's we got to evolve somewhere. Like if we need to grow and be sustainable, like we need to figure out how to grow everything indoors.
Yeah. Like we haven't used it yet, but here in the house, we have one of those trees that's like brown, sort of brown. And it's got all the pockets in it all through it, and it's got a worm farm thing in the center, and it's got hoses on it so you can do your watering and everything.
We have an irrigation system. Let's go.
Yeah, but we haven't used it yet.
Then you put on a timer and it waters itself, and you don't have to worry about it. Just that grows.
I'll have to come and see it so you can show me how to use it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can help with that. We can get some grow towers in as well. We've got one on display, and there's other vendors that we're working with. Another one actually where we just recently Hope Innovations. We got that correct. I think it's Hope Innovations are based out of Alberta, and we're just now starting to speak with them. We're getting a smaller systems, more almost counter based and slightly larger than that. Like 3 to 4 foot size, almost like aquarium size. We grow a lot of different food in those, and again, it's the same thing with the idea of it's just a flat plane. There's a reservoir underneath and holes where you put your net cups in, and the roots are just hanging in the water, and it's an aeroponics system with the lights integrated. So
there was this couple that came in and they were telling me about the system that they could get in Mexico. Maybe that's what it is. Because I was like baffled that they were trying to explain this to me, and it was like water in the bottom, and you can leave your lettuce and stuff for weeks. It just grows on your countertop. Interesting.
Yeah, these guys are based in Alberta. Hope, it's Hope Innovations. But yeah, there's so many. Yeah. There are so many different solutions companies.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah. All right, we gotta go for a break. It's that time again. You gotta hear from our sponsors, right? All right, we'll be back shortly after the break on about 3 minutes and 6 seconds. You're watching the Pace Radio Show. We're live here at paceradio.net and cbgtv.com.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partners 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Let's share Pace everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education. Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Pace Radio is the people advocating cannabis education radio network.
spring. Just saw Robin.
Awesome. Let's get our butts to Limestone City Hydroponics. They carry Happy Frog and Ocean Forest soils and lots of pro mix.
Limestone City Hydroponics carry everything you need to get veggies veggin', from organic fertilizer to cloth grow pots to, well, everything. Visit them today. Don't delay. In-store, free delivery, or curbside. We're here to help. 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
You're live here at the Pace Radio Show at paceradio.net, cbgtv.com, and we're with our guest, Margaret McDonald and Pierre. I'll get your name right. I knew I was going to.
Okay, it's all good. It's all good. Spenard. It's Spenard.
That's Spenard. There you go. Oh, I mentioned that before the program, Tamara, before you got there, that I tend to do that, and it's just sometimes I always try to verify everybody's name that I get it pronounced right beforehand. Okay, I
for me.
What's that?
It's hard for me too.
Well, so many guests as well.
Yeah.
So many guests.
Now I see that during your commercial that you carry Happy Frog. I'm assuming probably Ocean Forest as well.
We do as many, so we tried to get as much as we could at the time it was available. So right now, not sure if everybody knows, is Fox Farms is not being distributed anymore officially. So we have a limited supply, but we're hopeful that someone will be able to pick that up again. Okay. Otherwise, we are looking at alternative products that offer similar product from alternate companies.
Yeah, because I was going to lead in with that with the when I grow, I use Gaia Green products.
Full line of that we have for you.
You got a full line there of all that,
including the earths too.
We don't carry the frog soil though. We've got sea soils and fish different, but I mean different regions, right? Like we're in British Columbia, and everything we have is all made in British Columbia for our zone. So imagine why Ontario too. You're in southern Ontario. You got a good garden area for growing and agriculture out there too, right? But different zones for growing. What zone is Ontario?
6.
I was going to say 5, but it's 6. Yeah.
We're 3-4, right? So we're a 3-4, and you're So we got really like alkaline out here. We're pH.
No, the sea soil. You mentioned the sea soil there, Tamara. I've seen that. I've grown with that in the past.
Yeah. So we got fish soil. We got black. It's called black gold. We have all kinds of mushroom compost and we're a farm and feed too. So and it's a huge store. Like it's like the size of a Walmart. Like to be fair, but it's a farm and feed in a garden center. So we've got greenhouses. We've got bedding all plants. Like it's huge.
It's a big place. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But no, it's good that you've got organic products there for.
We carry all the GM. We've got the seaweeds and the kelps, and we carry Green Planet and Bunker Crop. And we carry Remos nutrients now, and then we carry some stuff called Monster that I've never heard of before. And others, there's like we've got so much it's hard to keep track. And then we got Grow. Carry that.
Nice,
yeah. So do you get a lot of people? Like I'm assuming you probably get a lot of people that would be buying probably the liquid salt-based nutrients versus the organic end of things. Just out of simplicity, easier to do.
Sometimes I think it's what they know. They know that it's getting to the root zone immediately. It doesn't have to break down. Kind of each time you're feeding them that at least in a small time frame, if you're outdoors, what the plant is getting. But we do tend to recommend dry amendments for outdoors for the simple reason of economics, effort, and just every time it rains, you're flushing your liquid nutrient away as well. So it might be that you choose, depending on how rainy your environment is, you choose a lower feeding, like maybe half dose, but feed more often. Or again, the dry amendments are popular because you can put them down And as long as you use, recommended dosage, you don't really have to update them for about 3 weeks.
Oh yeah,
If you're
yeah,
doing a
yeah,
green program, for instance.
yeah. That's the thing with the guy green. That was what I noticed right off the bat. What do you mean? You only have to feed this once every 3 weeks. Like what?
Yeah. And is there enough CalMag in there? Is there enough calcium in there and magnesium for that 3 weeks? And so you just have to watch the plant.
And kelp has more calcium in it, right? Since they've been starting to introduce more kelp into the systems, right? Whether it's GIA or whether, because GIA has a kelp mixture as well, with all the stones and the different kind of Rocky Mountain. I can't remember. There's a whole, lots of it. But again, the kelp is doing more calcium than what we were previously used to, because we didn't have kelp. So that lasts longer with the plant base and the food, right?
Yeah, we have. We actually also have kelp meal from Talon. Their company is out of Ottawa, like a granular form with 2 different strengths. So we are advocates for kelp. We just love it. It works well in even our own line of nutrients. 2 of the products have kelp in it.
I tell them to use it as a folate too, and I actually tell them to use it for the vegetables too. Like I say look, a lot of the nutrients are like specific to cannabis, but there are lots of them that aren't. Like the GIA isn't specific to just cannabis. People use that for everything. Like they garden with that, vegetables, tomatoes, everything, like with the GIA product, right? So it's not just like if you don't, it's not all just cannabis specific. It's plant. And again, remember, cannabis is a plant.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see what else offhand. I'm just seeing if we've covered everything on your list there of your services. We talked about the local delivery, medical license, potency testing, how-tos, and questions and answers. I guess, like, is that where you have like a page of information where people can go and learn about different problems or problem solvings or growing suggestions?
Well, we have the social media channels that we use. So everything from Facebook, Instagram, Google, and there are others. We have them listed on the website. And Margaret manages that as well as the website. But most of the consultation, we prefer to have conversations about either on the phone or in person. And then we give the best information. We've also done clinics as well. So we've done a couple of visits to gardening groups. Either they've come into the store or we've gone to their community center and spoken to groups, small and large. And
now, do those discussions include all kinds of growing, like including cannabis growing, or is it?
Those ones that we've been involved with are more community gardening, so more outdoor vegetable gardening and flowers.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Like garden clubs or stuff like that. Like I know that Deb was involved in the gardening club there in Belleville.
Mm-hmm.
So you've. Does anybody at those groups surprise you with a question about cannabis?
Not openly, but we do get approached.
They come over after when the group rallies, they linger and they're more comfortable than not.
Like the one you're saying this. Oh, Buddha Boom. Is that what I think that's for?
Yeah. I'll be back.
Good.
It's good. It's good. It's slowly but surely, people are asking the questions and people are curious, right?
Yeah, and we try to keep it as if we don't know, we try to do the research, say, I don't know the answer to that. And we hope that, the customer comes back. And so when we have the answer, say, oh, you were asking about citric acid the other day and I didn't have a good answer for you. But we now know that, our flushing agents tend to have citric acid in them and they're used for different purposes beyond just flushing the plant.
It lowers the pH.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's what I use is my pH down.
Oh, smart.
It's citric acid because of growing in the living organics, right?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
excellent.
We're learning a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's a big learning thing. I know that when I first started to learn the living organics, it was the grow writer for Skunk magazine, the Rev. I don't know if you've seen his book. Yeah. Well, he was helping me. Yeah, we had a 52-page long thread at Skunk Magazine talking to me about growing, and other people were involved, and it was quite a thing. So that's why I grow that way. It was taught by a professional, and I do the same thing. It makes sense if you can learn how to do it.
Yeah, get the right information and
right.
Yeah, think about it, scientifically in a way that's rational versus there is some bro science out there, or some folks with really strong convictions about things being a certain way that there are many ways to grow, and
there is.
Yeah, and
yeah,
a lot to learn.
None of it's wrong. And that's what I tell people. Like, they come in and they I say, you know what you're doing isn't wrong. It's different, and it's okay. Everybody grows differently, right? We're all individuals. We all have our own ideas, our own choices, and that's where I leave it. With and I learn a lot from them too sometimes.
Yeah. Like I've told people over the years that you're going to be told this, you're going to be told this, you're going to be told that, and in the end, you'll probably take a little bit out of everybody's advice for what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody's got the same space, availability to do things. Everybody's got different situations, and like I know in some of the promo stuff that I've gone through of what you've got, you guys talk about that you have you have different options available for people to choose from.
Yeah, from everything from low budget to high budget, and there are ways to DIY things as well as get the right products, the right bang for buck. If you're on a limited budget, there's certain things you still can do to kind of give you a leg up to minimize some of your trials and tribulations through the process. Especially if you're new to it, sometimes it can be frustrating. And
expensive.
Yeah, especially when you're getting the seeds, and the seeds are really expensive, or clones.
Yeah. And then you just don't want to do it, and
they just give up. They just say, "Well, this is hard, and don't want to do it anymore." Even any plant, right? They can't grow it. They said, "I'm not doing that anymore."
Yeah, and they don't realize, that the plant, sometimes when they're going through as beginners, like, oh, I should just give up, and they're like, no, this plant can survive. It wants to live.
Yeah.
A lot of times, sometimes they're like, depending on the problem, if you have a bug issue and it's inside and it's spider mites and they, all you see is spider webs, then sorry, you got to start from scratch, and you got to do a lot of work to get that.
Yeah, a lot of cleaning. Oh yeah. Yeah, they can be a real pain. I've seen them take people's gardens right over.
Yeah.
Sometimes they thought it got so bad that they were coming out of the walls. I cleaned this room. Where are they coming from? They must be hiding in the walls.
Yeah. Or in the fan, it could be, or in the lighting fixture, where it's nice and warm but not too hot. The edge of the heat sink or whatever.
And powdery mildew. That's probably a big one that both of you, both businesses would be dealing with. Because it is a pain in the butt, especially growing inside. And like I know when I walk the dog around town, when I go into town and walk the dog on the sidewalk, you can see gardens that are close or bushes that are close. You can see the powdery mildew that will start, later in the year. That'll show up there, and it's a nasty fight. Must be hard to control outside, though.
It is, especially if you don't have the airflow on your side, and it then becomes really humid. Or you'll have, I've just staying with a story. If it wasn't last year, it was the year before. A friend of mine had monster plants. He was so proud, and he let them go the extra week because we had such a great summer 2 summers ago. How long it was, the growing season was, and then that last week it rained, and he couldn't get to it, and then he lost about a third of his crop to bud rot. Yeah, he's like, oh, Pierre was so greedy. Oh, we're so greedy. I could have taken him down. It'd been so awesome. But it happens, and there are ways to prevent it. There are natural ways to prevent it, like the Homo milk spray trick with you can get some as a wetting agent. Use a little Dawn soap. There's the soda, the baking soda.
Baking soda.
Well, that one works fairly well. The idea is to kind of raise the pH of the outside of the leaf so high that the fungus can't live. And then copper treatments, copper sulfates in sprays and foliar sprays, really is the best method of keeping it at bay, keeping it away.
Yeah.
And
I
then
only had to
plant strong as well to keep it at bay.
I had to deal with it one time in my old location where I was living, and the water there was like 10 for the pH. So when I did get it one particular time, that's what all I did was sprayed water on it. Because the pH, it was to raise the pH on the surface of the plant.
Yeah.
In order to kill the powdery mildew. So I just sprayed regular water. It controlled it. I wouldn't say it killed it off, but
because our pH here is 8. You get powdery mildew outside too, like even in lawns and stuff. So even 8's not like, and that's why I was like, we're always telling people use sulfur, lower your pH, dirt. Yeah, where Vancouver is totally different. It's totally different from the coast where I am because I'm in the interior of the province. So it's totally different.
Yeah, you're mountain bound. You're not down by the waterfront.
Right in the mountains,
Yeah.
Yeah, right along the Alberta, like just in that Alberta border, in the southeast corner of Montana.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to, I gotta watch the time. There, we got about 4 more minutes or so. Lighting options. What's popular? What are people looking for? So on and so forth. What's available?
The most buzz is around LED lighting.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot of knowledge around. There's some knowledge around the HEID lighting and some of the benefits there. Not a lot of knowledge around CMH or LEC, if folks are familiar with those two terms. And so we actually advocate a lot of the times for not just quality of the grow. If you have the ability to remove some of the heat that a CMH light does, is it's a lower wattage light, we actually recommend for the quality of the grow that we get from CMH. But there are LEDs that have come a long way, even some lower end LEDs that really are full spectrum, different than if folks are familiar with Blurple style, the blue and red intense lights. They weren't as good, especially in flower. Good for veg, good enough for veg. Not for flower. And the high-end LEDs that have the full spectrum high-end diodes, there's like, for instance, you hear a lot about Samsung Osram diodes, and there's 2 classes. There's like a value class, and which is still a full spectrum high-quality diode, but not as full spectrum as the higher-end version. And then, of course,
depends how much money you want to spend, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you do want a full spectrum light that also has some UV capability, and deep red. So far red, it kind of goes slightly outside of your typical PAR spectrum that was typically measured with the old HID lighting. But HID lighting, there's folks that advocate and still use the high pressure sodium, the double-ended systems, especially really good. We've got we carry those in stock as well. Everything from, we've got single phase, 2-phase, 3-phase equipment at the store, really high-end commercial grade stuff, and it works well. But now we're seeing, there are incentives. A lot of companies like Enbridge is giving incentives for a lot of commercial companies to convert to an LED system. And those companies are going to have to adjust because the LEDs, the lights under the plants under the LEDs behave differently. And so if you're used to one type of lighting, there's a learning curve with another type of lighting, especially there's the manufacturing standards are so varied. So there's a wider difference on the LED spectrum than there is in quality or even predictable results than there is in the more traditional lighting like HID or the newer generation of that, the CMH.
Lighting, you would think it's just so simple. Just put them outside and let the sun do it all, right?
That's made up of spectrums that we can't even
measure.
It's artificial light, and it's gonna. Yeah, I was a diehard HPS guy, and then I did a side by side test with some LEDs, with the same strain under the lights, and seeing was believing. So I made a change.
Less heat, way less heat to deal with, and energy costs too.
Yeah,
Filled our house. Our house is filled.
You're not worrying about bugs so much. So that even loses that anxiety, because like the spider mites don't usually hatch till about 72 degrees. You can keep your room below 70 degrees. Don't worry about the bugs. So when I really noticed that when I changed over from the HPSs down to the LED, I noticed that my room didn't need the air conditioner anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, with an air conditioner, it was like, I don't need the air conditioner now. And then the movement too, like my fans didn't seem to be like, I had 2 fans going still, but it still wasn't as muggy. You know what I mean? It was a different air feeling, right? It was more dry, so it seemed to they seemed to grow better. But I guess that wasn't as tight. I was still say it's the HPS, right? When you're using 1100 HPS, it just doesn't tighten up like that metal has, right?
All right, we've got down to shout out time. We're just over 3 minutes left there. So shout out, person, place, a thing, website. Let everybody know where they can find Limestone City Hydroponics.
Visit limestonecityhydroponics.ca on Google. Just do a search, or Hydroponics Kingston. We'll get you the results as well. And currently, we are one of the only vendors between Ottawa and Peterborough along the 401 corridor. But we're right off the 401, so we're fairly easy to get to if you're able to get to us. Otherwise, we do have online shopping available, and we'll be improving the website experience, as well as just our whole online store, and getting all the stock online.
Your best bet is to come see the store yourself, because there's.
I will. It's a little far for tomorrow,
but we invite you.
Yeah.
I will come down. I will meet you in person. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Tamara, anything you want to?
Oh, just see me on Monday nights on Cannabis and Coffee with Marijuana. And other
I've watched you a couple times.
Very much for joining our network and giving us some support. And I hope to learn a lot from you guys.
And vice versa.
Good. Let's see. Was there anything that you maybe wanted to say before we go? Did I miss anything? Did we miss anything as far as business wise?
Oh, our address, I guess, is 105 Sutherland Drive, right on the corner of Montreal Street and Sutherland Drive, and it's a plaza. So we're in the same plaza as Greenlee's Meats and Shoppers Drug Mart, and there's a dentist there.
All right, good. And your website address?
limestonecityhydroponics.ca.
All right. I was going to say .com, so I'm glad that I asked you instead of saying
.com works too. We bought that one too.
Oh, there you go.
We also bought BMAHydroponics.com, so if you go to that old URL, it comes to us too. We welcome you as former BMA customers, and we'll give you 10% discount. Tell us you're coming from BMA, or coming from former customer from there. We also give our licensed
medical patients get a 10% discount. Good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff. Good. All right. You can find us on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're everywhere. We're on all kinds of social media. Other than that, we'd like to say thank you to our viewers tonight, for everybody tuning into the broadcast. And we'd also like to thank our sponsors. That includes Legacy420.com, Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, and our brand new sponsors here on the network, Limestone City Hydroponics. Check them out, everybody.
Thank you.
And actually, I'll add one more call out: 10% off if you mention that you saw this on Pace Radio.
Oh, hey, there you go. I'll put that. I'll add that to the post. Let everybody know that. All right.
Sure.
Other than that, we will see everybody next week when we have our special guest, and I'll fill Tamara in on that later because she doesn't even know who that is yet. All right. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye.
Thanks very much. Thanks.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. Good to meet you.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.